The light and love of the divine in me honors and greets the light and love of the divine in each and every one of you here this morning. Thank you for joining us on this kind of spring-like morning in June, where it's blustery outside, it's cool, it's odd, but we love it. We love it. It's not hot, so we love that part. So welcome to the Awakening Way spiritual community. We are a New Thought community in the lineage of Dr. Ernest Holmes. And so just let me ask you a couple of questions this morning. How do you want to live your life? How do you want to feel? What do you want to experience? What kinds of things do you want to bring into your life? Do you want to draw into your life? We all want to live the most magnificent life we can. And there are ways that we can make that happen. You know, we live in a spiritual universe, and each and every one of us are spiritual beings having a human experience. And so our goal here at Awakening Way Spiritual Community is to remind us that the truth of our spirituality and to help each and every one of us connect to the reality, the big R reality of our lives, and to use that energy, to use that knowledge, to use that awakening energy to bring forth a more fulfilling life for ourselves. It's really not that complicated. We all want to live like this. We just need to make it happen. And we need tools to make that happen. And this teaching, this New Thought teaching, is filled with tools, individual tools, spiritual tools that can help us do that very thing. Meditation, prayer, book studies, all kinds of ways that we can deepen into our own spirituality, our own reminder of who we are, and then take that information and take those skills out into the world and into our lives and just create this beautiful, flowing life that we want to live. So that's our goal, and we're here to help you do that. We're here on Sundays. We're still in a holding pattern about, where we go from here and when we're going to be opening, going back to the pavilion. But, here is good. I like here. This is good. So we'll just be happy in this moment and be happy that we're able to do these Zoom calls. And I see lots of faces there this morning, and whatever it is that brought you to be with us this morning. And wherever you go when this little session is over this morning, for this period of time, for this perfect moment, welcome home. We've been waiting for you. And so I'd like to invite you, as we go deeper into our morning, to join me for a brief invocation where we just open to the awareness of the presence of the divine right where we are. So if you're comfortable, and I know you are because you're sitting on your couch or you're sitting someplace comfy, just allow your eyes to softly close and take a couple of very, very deep breaths in and let them out fully, completely, so that you feel that full exhale, and then breathe in again fully and let that exhale out fully. And allow that oxygen to just flow through your body, filling yourself with that awareness of the life that lives within you, that something greater than you are that is operating your body right now as we speak. And so in this invocation, I just acknowledge the presence of the divine right here where we are in each and every one of us. I acknowledge the presence of God in each and every breath we take, in everything we see, in everything we hear, in everything we feel. The first peoples focus on all their relations. And so we welcome all of our relations, all of our relations from the spirits, from the life and the love of God, all that goodness, all that joy, all that love, all that peace. We welcome all of that energy, for they are our relations. They are part of us, have always been a part of us. And so we welcome all of that energy into our conscious awareness this morning. And I know that everything unfolds beautifully this morning, that the words that are spoken are the perfect words for each and every one of us, that they weave their way into our hearts and minds and allow us to uncover and discover something perfect for us today. And I know the music is awe-inspiring and it lifts us higher and takes us deeper. I give thanks for Steve, who is facilitating the Zoom call this morning, for it wouldn't happen if someone didn't volunteer to make that happen. And I give thanks for each and every person who is here, who is open, who is ready, who has said, yes, 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 bring it this morning. I'm here. I'm available. And so I just let my words go. I allow them to be so, knowing they are perfect. And so it is. Amen.
Sitting in silence, watching the ocean, everything flowing together, watching the pelicans diving into the sea. I can't help but think I'm sitting with God, watching the parents and the children, oh, those families, everyone loving one another, listening to laughter, it suddenly hits me. I can't help but think I'm hanging with God. Sure, things can get tough, now you know what I mean, but the sun is still shining and the sea is still green, 'cause the way that I feel is truly what's real. Life keeps getting better and better and better. Seeing the sunrise peeping over the mountains, another new day comes to greet me. I sit and reflect, good feelings unchecked, content in the knowledge I'm jamming with God. Oh sure, I want more, but who don't? And I don't let it get me down. No, I won't. 'Cause all this is mine. From the sea to the sunshine, life keeps getting better and better. Sitting here singing and strumming my guitar with all of you fine folks before me. Think I'll sing one last note, 'cause that's all that I wrote. I can't help but think I'm singing with God.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Jimmy. I think that was the best version you've done of that song yet. I hope you have all those words written down, because that was really, really the best. Thanks. Good morning, everybody. Namaste. Our seed of the awakening for this month is vitality. The Merriam-Webster dictionary has a really bizarre, in my opinion, definition of vitality. It says, vitality is the peculiarity distinguishing the living from the non-living, the capacity to live and develop. I don't know about you, but I don't consider the ability to be alive and not non-living to be peculiar. Maybe that's just me. Of course, vitality comes from the word vital, which means fundamentally concerned with or affecting life or living things, and concerned with or necessary to the maintenance of life. So what we're talking about this month is that life energy that is within us, but where does that come from? Ernest Holmes says, that upon which life depends is vitality. But vitality is in man comes from and is of God. As we become aware of our oneness with good, we are filled with enthusiasm and a sense of energy and vitality. So we could ask, what is it that's most vital to our vitality? The answer, after we eliminate the obvious, is to be aware of and act in harmony with our oneness with the divine. And Holmes defines harmony as concord or agreement in facts, opinions, manners, interests, etc. The secret of all progress is getting into right relationship with the universal, in tune with the infinite order, is harmony. So if the cells of my body aren't in harmony with one another, we could say that my vitality is diminished, and something has to be done to bring it back into the flow of that vitality of the universe. As in the micro, so in the macro. So when we look at our country right now, we can see that there's something seriously affecting the vitality of our country. As of yesterday, there were 109 million people in our country that have either had or have the coronavirus. 110,000 of them have made their transition. That's more than 5 times any flu we've ever had since the Spanish flu. And right now, that's being overshadowed by the demonstrations and, in some cases, the violence over the death of an African-American man in Minneapolis. Maybe there's an argument that can be made on each side for what's going on. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Here's what I know for sure. I can never judge what is happening until I've been a cop or until I've been a black man. The English philosopher Herbert Spencer said, there's a principle that is a bar against all information, which is proof against all arguments, and which cannot fail to keep a man in everlasting ignorance. That principle is contempt prior to investigation. Excuse me. I know the only way I can ever understand what it means to be black is to be black. And I can't do that. I know that the only way I can ever understand what it means to be a cop is to be a cop. And I won't do that. So the best I can do is talk to people who are. In fact, if we use Holmes' definition of harmony, we are to reach a concord or agreement of facts. Then we have to talk to one another in order to do that. We have to talk to one another without pontificating our own position, but by listening to what the other person is actually saying. We're not doing that. Nobody's doing that. Everybody's talking, nobody's listening. Because both sides have decided the facts without knowing what the heck they are. Now, that is called having an opinion. It has nothing to do with facts. Holmes said, the sum total of every man's thought is a mirage of the ages. A mirage of the ages. All of our opinions are a mirage. They're based on our judgments, on our prejudices. I'm going to use that word, our prejudices and our opinions. Every single one of us, I don't care who we are, has prejudices, opinions, and judgments that we make about other people and about everything in the world. Left to my own devices, I'm a Ford guy. My brother-in-law, Amos, is a Chevy guy. Those are prejudices that each of us has that have no bearing in the real world. The same thing is true here. Webster's defines opinion as a belief not based on absolute certainty or positive knowledge, but on what seems true, valid, or probable to one's own mind, to one's judgment. To overcome our problems in the world right now, both sides have to be willing to listen from the heart. And right now, there's just too much finger pointing and too little introspection. Don't mistake what I'm about to say for frivolity, because I'm not being frivolous here. I'm deadly serious. But this reminds me what's going on as I watch people and I see the talking heads on television. It reminds me of some of the characters from Winnie the Pooh. And I'm sorry if that sounds insulting to some people, but I find it is a highly accurate representation of what we're doing. Let me give you some examples, some of the characters, and listen for you. Don't listen for other people, the president, the governor, the whoever, the medical authorities. Don't listen for them. Listen for yourself. How are you like these characters? First of all, there's the owl. The owl is a flawed genius. As Pooh said, if anyone who knows anything about anything, it's the owl who knows something about something. Or my name's not Winnie the Pooh, which it is. So there you are. Owl is a deep thinker who never quite gets it right because he's missing a piece. He's positively intimidating in his intellect and his use of language. He's the only one in the 100-acre forest that knows that Tuesday is spelled Twosday. In all of Pooh's adventures, Owl pontificates, Owl educates, and Owl never solves a thing or leads anyone else to a solution. Then there's Rabbit. Rabbit thinks he's the intellectual equal of Owl. As he said, Owl, you and I have brains. If there's any thinking to be done in this forest, you and I must do it. The truth is, however, that everything is for show with Rabbit. He's a bureaucrat. He's a petty dictator who thinks that everything in the world should run according to his rules, even though he has no idea what he's talking about. The result is that no one has any respect for him. Then there's Eeyore. Eeyore is an old gray donkey that has very low self-worth. Eeyore's pessimistic about everything. We've heard these people out there. I shouldn't be surprised if it hailed a good deal tomorrow, Eeyore was saying. Blizzards and whatnot. Being fine today doesn't mean anything. Finally, there's Piglet. Piglet is tiny and frightened of the world. As he says, it's hard to be brave when you're only a little animal. Unlike Rabbit, whose answer to the world is to try to control everything, Piglet doesn't think he's in control of anything at all. When we react from our own personal Pooh character to our current national crisis, whether we're talking about the coronavirus or we're talking about the demonstrations and the racial unrest in the country, when we view it from our own flawed perspective of the world caused by our judgments, our prejudices, and our beliefs, our opinions, we're acting completely out of harmony and draining both ourselves and our national life of all vitality. Holmes once wrote this in the margin of a book he was reading. Don't react to, respond from. By that he meant that we're wasting our vitality in seeking to protect ourselves through our opinions, judgments, and prejudices. Instead, we need to be looking at everything. We need to find a way to harmony through a higher perspective of what's going on. So what are we to do? Watch more Fox or more MSNBC or more CNN? Listen to the president more? Listen to the governors more? Read all the emails that all our friends and family are sending to us that they got from somebody and they're just forwarding and we have no idea who they came from? Is that where the truth is? No. All that does is reinforce our negative opinions. I'm sorry. That's all it does. We already believe something, and so we go to the source that's going to reinforce our beliefs. And that is based on our opinions, our prejudices, and our judgments. When we move past our opinions and we really look at our world, and we remember that our vitality and the vitality of our country comes from and is of God, then just like I cannot say my whole body is godlike except for my left foot, which is hurting me today, we also can't say that anything in our country is not godlike. This group is godlike, but this group isn't. This guy is godlike because I agree with him, but I don't agree with this guy, so he isn't godlike. We don't get to do that. The coronavirus is of God. The people who want to ignore it are of God. George Floyd is of God. The Minneapolis police are of God. All people, white, black, red, yellow, are of God. The demonstrators are of God. The president is of God. The governors are of God. I could go on forever. But our job is to respond from that higher understanding. It's all God, no exceptions. There are no exceptions. We don't need to rationalize what's happening through the filters of our intellects. That's reacting and it just gets us in trouble. Instead, we start with this idea, it's all God. And let's just work from that. It's all God, all of it. We don't have to see God in it. We don't have to understand how God is in it. We just have to know that it's all God. And when we understand that, when we come to that conclusion for ourselves, to that decision to believe that it's all God for ourselves, what's the most godlike, loving, and harmonious action I can take as a child of God? Ask yourself, godlings, what's really going on here? And begin with yourself, in yourself. Look at your opinions, look at your judgments, look at your prejudices. And yes, everyone has prejudices, no matter who they are. I can't repeat that often enough. There are too many people who declare they have no prejudices when they're among the most prejudiced people I know. Ask yourself, is this how a godling thinks? Or is this how an owl thinks, a rabbit thinks, an Eeyore thinks, a piglet thinks? I was talking to someone the other day. I was walking around the lake and I was talking to this person that I ran into. And the person said, what's going on is driving me crazy. I keep trying to stay on principle. I keep trying to see everything from the higher place. but I keep catching myself moving into judgment about who I see doing things and what I see again and again and again, and it's making me crazy. Does that sound familiar to anyone? I couldn't answer her the way I wanted to because there were just too many people around, people I didn't even know, and there was too much going on. It was a bizarre experience. There were like 2 houses down from where we were standing, there were like 5 police cars, and I don't have any, never did figure out what was going on over there, but all these cops, county sheriffs, and Pataskadero cops all came up to this house, and everybody, you know, jumped out of the cars and ran in, and all the people in the houses came out, and they were all standing out in the street. And this is when I ran into this person, when all of this was going on. So I really couldn't answer. But here's what I would have said if I'd had the time, if I'd had the right situation to do so. When we allow ourselves the luxury of judgment and prejudices, we're never in harmony with the vitality of God. Never. And I say luxury because sometimes it just feels good to come from that place of righteousness and judgment and judge the other person, or be prejudiced against them for some reason, or to some person or some group. Whether we're on the left or we're on the right, whether we're black or we're white, it doesn't matter. As long as we hold on to our prejudices and judgments, we'll continue to contribute to the problem. And beyond that, we'll continue to cut off the vitality, both of our nation and of our own lives. This pattern of black and white relationships, of black and white prejudice, of black and white opinion, has gone on in this country for 600 years. In the name of God, isn't that long enough? How long do we want to shackle ourselves with prejudices and opinions that have no valid ground for belief in this day and age, and continue to wear the manacles of those opinions and prejudices? We're completely out of the divine flow when we're in that place. What does that mean for us? What it means for us is that the divine flow has been diminished. And diminishing the divine flow guarantees that we can pray until we're blue in the face, but our demonstration is going to be less than we could ask for. It's going to be limited. So we have to learn to laugh at our owls, laugh at our rabbit, laugh at our piglet, laugh at our Eeyore. And remember that all of them, only Pooh, who was the bear of small brain by his own admission, who didn't have any opinions about anything, who walked around with this Zen-like manner. And on a blustery day like today, it's wonderful to remember that line from Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day, where he and Piglet are walking through the woods and the wind is blowing and the trees are creaking and crashing against one another. And Piglet says, "Supposing they fall on us." And Pooh said, "Supposing they don't. Supposing they don't." He was treated like a silly old bear, as Christopher Robin loved to call him, and yet Pooh was the one who always got the honey pot. He was the one that always got the demonstration. We can all walk through this national crisis and all the personal crises that go with it if we can only remember to do it together, because we are all one in God. Isn't it time to truly be one nation and one people under God? Accepting what is going on without our judgment, our opinions, our prejudices getting in the way, and be willing to hear what the other side is feeling, what the other side has experienced, what the other side has been through, will bring us together. Continuing in our prejudices, in our opinions, and in our experiential beliefs will only continue to tear the country apart and to tear our lives apart. Altogether, as a nation, we can come back to the vitality and harmony needed to open to that perfect divine right action and right outcome for every single human being in this country, regardless of what the rabbits out there might say. Just remember, and this is a phrase that came from the ancient Talmud to the Hebrew faith, the second most important book after the Torah. Now is the time, and we are the people. Now is the time, and we are the people. The crisis is not over. It's not anywhere near over. And it's not over because those who are called are not listening. Those who hear the call of Spirit have not answered. Let's make this the month we truly step into divine vitality and do the work of healing. Do that work of healing, both ourselves and our nation, by bringing that vitality to the work of bringing all things back to harmony and vitality. And let's begin to do that right now. I ask you to join me in a prayer. I know that there is a divine source of life, that vitality that expresses itself through all of life, as all of life. I know that that life expressing through me is me. And I know that that life is God. God in action, that creative energy of the universe itself moving through me and as me is my vitality. And I know that as long as I am in harmony with that still small voice within me, that divine voice that speaks ever the truth, then I am a godling. As long as I do, my vitality fills me, for I'm in harmony with that. It fills me, and I am alive, and my prayer is active and has outcomes that are joyous and wonderful. And as I know that's true for me, I know it's true for every single person on this call, for we are the ones who are called. We are the people. And the time is now. And so I declare for us, for each of us, that as we move out into our life experiences in the coming days and weeks, that we really listen, that we really listen to others when they express how they are truly feeling, not from a place of pontificating and demanding, not from a place of questioning us and our values, but truly just listening to people when they share with us what's going on for them and has been going on for them. And we get the opportunity to do the same thing, to really truly share our deepest, most heartfelt feelings. We get to look at our opinions. And when our opinions deplete that vitality of God from our lives and the life of our country, we get to reconsider, is this godlike? Is this what a godling would do? Or is this what a rabbit would do, what an owl would do, what an Eeyore would do, what a piglet would do? What is truly the most divine thing I can do right now as a godling? when we answer that question and we move into accepting that it's all God at all times, in every circumstance, God is present, then we can truly begin to say that we are one nation under God. And I know for us that we do that now, for that is the divine flow of vitality moving through us, bringing us into harmony with all things and all people, because it's all God. And for that, I am so grateful. I give thanks for all that is transpiring within each of us, bringing us closer and closer to that acceptance of the truth and not the opinions or prejudices that we have been living with for our whole lives. I'm so grateful. I have spoken my word of love. That love has impelled the law into motion. The law has created the most marvelous demonstration of truth right here and right now. All is well, all is done, all is one nation under God for all godlings. And so I release and I let go and I say, and so it is. Amen.
I am so alive. I am so alive.
I am so alive. I am so alive.
I am so alive. I am so alive. I am so alive. I am so alive.
I am so alive. I am so alive. I am so alive. I am so alive. I am so alive. I am so alive. I am so alive. I am so alive. I am so alive. I am so alive. I am so alive. I am so alive.
I am so
alive. I am so alive. I am so alive. I am so alive. Yes, I am so alive. I am so alive. Yes, I am so alive.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Frank. Definitely something to think about for sure. We are living in interesting times. So I just want to thank all of you who have been supporting us throughout these months now, weeks. We still have our bills to pay, and we appreciate your tithes and love offerings. They really, really matter to us, and we appreciate it so much. A big shout out to Jan Lynch, who organized our little book sale here on Thursday. We set up tables out here in front of the office, and people came by and they're wearing their masks and we're doing social distancing, but we sold quite a few books, and it was good to connect with people in that way, and good for her for coming up with that idea. It was wonderful. So we will be continuing meeting here on Zoom, I'm sure through the end of June, and where we go from there depends on what happens with the city and with the state. and with you, because it matters to us how you feel about coming back, and your sense of health and safety. So that matters as well. So for now, we will be back here on Zoom next week, and we look forward to seeing you then. I want to leave you with this blessing. Whatever's going on in our lives or in the world or
Really, whatever's going on.
around us, we still have within us this beautiful awareness and this beautiful recognition that there's something so amazing that is living in us and as us. And so when we can just remember that, life will unfold in a more beautiful way. So my blessing for you this morning is that you know, not that you think, but that you know that you are healthy and safe. You know that without question, that you know that you are filled with divine energy and vitality, that you have the energy to do whatever it is that needs to be done. And that you know that you are blessed beyond measure. No matter what is happening in your life or the world around you, feel blessed. So let it be. And so it is. Amen. Namaste. See you next week.